Something that's always been very noticeable about Pyongyang is the lack of heavy traffic. Although this has changed in recent years and traffic has begun to build up in the nation's capital, the citizens of Pyongyang, more often than not, use the capital's extensive public transport network to get themselves around. Perhaps the most famous network, the Pyongyang metro, is a favourite of locals and tourists alike. So much so, it was one of the first topics I covered. You can find out more about the Pyongyang metro in this video. But how else do locals get themselves around Pyongyang? Well, taxis, trams, and trolleybuses. Perhaps the most extensive and popular forms of public transport in Pyongyang is the trolleybus network. Providing the most coverage out of all of these options, the trolleybuses in Pyongyang are fed by overhead cables, providing electricity for the vehicles as they trundle about Pyongyang. Opened in April 1962, the network has shifted and changed since its opening. Today, there are 10 lines, crisscrossing the nation's capital. Line 1 runs from the Pyongyang railway station, past the Pyongyang Grand Theatre, over Kim Il-sung Square, after which it passes many other monuments such as the Choloma statue, the Arch of Triumph, and the April 25th House of Culture, before terminating in northern Pyongyang just beyond the Three Revolutions exhibition. Line 2 departs from Pyongyang Station before turning right up Choloma Street, along which it passes the Pyongyang Ice Rink, the Palace of Culture, before looping around the Potong Gate and heading up to pass the mammoth Ryugyong Hotel and the Victorious Fatherland Liberation War Monument. After crossing the Potong River, it trundles north, before terminating at So-Pyongyang-yok, or West Pyongyang Station. Line 3 follows almost exactly the same route as Line 2, passing the Ryugyong Hotel, over the Potong River and down Choloma Street. At the end of Choloma Street, it passes over the railway station to terminate at the Pyongyang Thermal Power Plant. Line 4 originates in the suburbs, winding its way through East Pyongyang before reaching Taeshalim Street, which it runs along until it reaches the Taedong River, just down the road from the Juche Tower. This line originally ran further, into Pyongyang proper, ending at Hwanggumbol. However, it would eventually be replaced on this side of the river by a tram line. Line 5 begins at the Munsu Water Park in the Munsudong district of Pyongyang, from where it travels along Sanwon Street, passing behind the Workers' Party Foundation monument before turning right and crossing over the Oknu Bridge. Once on the western side of the river, the route passes the Oknuguan restaurant and the department store number 1, before crossing over Kim Il-sung Square to terminate outside department store number 2. The first route so far to reach deep into the suburbs of Pyongyang, Line 6 begins in Sadong, near the northern meander of the Taedong River, and runs through suburban Pyongyang along Taehak Street, before joining Tongdaewon Street, and crossing the Oknu Bridge to terminate outside department store number 1. With Line 7 replaced by a tram line, we move on to Line 8. This line begins at the monumental Arch of Triumph near Moranbong Park, from where it crosses the Potong River, over the Mansu Bridge, and travels directly in a straight line along Ponghua Street, passing the Ryugyong Hotel, to terminate at the Hwanggumbol metro station. Line 9 is a true suburban route, starting where Line 1 ends at the Nyeonmukdong depot in northern Pyongyang, before tracking a straight line northwards, leaving the city proper and passing through fields to reach the Yeongsong district. Line 10 runs from Pyongyang Station towards the Taedong. However, before crossing the bridge, this line makes a right turn and runs along one of Pyongyang's newest districts, Mirai Scientist Street, from where it travels over the Chungsong Bridge, to terminate at the atom-shaped Sci-Tech complex. Another truly rural route, Line 11 links the West Pyongyang station with the more northerly Sopo railway station. The trolleybus network makes use of numerous different vehicles, including some older models, which remain in service despite the prevalence of new, modern alternatives. One of the most intriguing aspects of Pyongyang's trolleybus network is the addition of stars on the sides of the buses. One for every 50,000 kilometers travelled without incident. The red star has the words "Allman" inside it, meaning 50,000. This makes it easy to distinguish the newer introductions from the veteran buses. Before the Korean War, the old city of Pyongyang had 3 tram lines, connecting the city centre with the suburbs. All the lines started at the Pyongyang railway station, connecting the city centre with East Pyongyang, West Pyongyang and Songgyo railway station. The significant bombardment of the city during the Korean conflict meant the tram system was discontinued. Construction of the first line of the new network began in 1989, and today the network spans a total of 4 lines around the city, 3 for everyday use and 1 special line, which we'll get to in a moment. Line 1 begins at the birthplace of the President Kim Il-sung, Mangyongdae. From here, it runs up the architecturally marvellous Kwangbok Street, passing sites such as the Mangyongdae Schoolchildren's Palace and Kwangbok Supermarket, before turning to travel down Pulgun Street towards Hwangunbol metro station. Over the Potonggang, past the Pyongyang ice rink, from where it follows the railway line down to the train station. Line 2 runs from the Munsu district in northeastern Pyongyang, in front of the Workers' Party Foundation Monument and behind the new Pyongyang General Hospital. Continuing on its route through the city, it eventually joins Tongil Street, a nice wide boulevard with some distinctive architecture. The line terminates at the end of Tongil Street. Line 3 runs from West Pyongyang Station in the far north. The tram line turns onto Hyokshin Street. Running behind the victorious Fatherland Liberation War Museum and Ryugyong Hotel, the line continues down, past the ever-popular Hwangunbol metro station, crossing the Potonggang and beginning its trundle through the less urban area of southwestern Pyongyang. Emerging on the banks of the Taedong, the line passes the Sci-Tech Center before passing through Tongil Street to terminate at the Nagrang Depot. The Kumsusan Palace of the Sun has a dedicated line to transport locals to and from the site. The line runs for a modest 2.7 kilometers from the Samhung metro station near Yeomyong Street, along Pipa Street, to its own dedicated tram stop at the visitor reception area of Kumsusan. The trams running on this line do not operate on the roads, but off to the side of the main street. The line also operates different vehicles, notable by their distinctive green colour. The tram network around Pyongyang today operates a mixture of older vehicles and modern domestically produced vehicles. The older vehicles, many of which came from the fellow socialist state of Czechoslovakia, are Tatra trams, in the distinct red and white livery of the Pyongyang tram network. These, however, are slowly giving way to the new model, a domestically designed and produced vehicle, the Tongil 181, or Reunification 181. Maintaining the colour scheme, but representing a huge leap in the modernisation of the network. Despite only recently becoming a popular and viable way for locals to move around the capital, Pyongyang has developed an extensive network of taxi organisations. One of the most distinctive groups is the Air Korea run taxi service, with a fleet of blue and white liveried vehicles crisscrossing Pyongyang. Whilst the prevalence of taxis has been low in recent decades, they're becoming more and more popular around Pyongyang, When combined with the other public transport options, the metro, trolleybus and city trams, Pyongyang citizens have an extensive choice of how to traverse the nation's capital. Thanks for watching. This video required some extensive research, and so special thanks has to go to my backers on Patreon, who've made it possible for me to spend a bit more time working on these videos. If you're enjoying the content and you're interested in supporting the channel and helping the community grow, check out my Patreon, which is linked in the description. Make sure to subscribe with your notifications on to keep up to date with DPRK Explained, and to be sure that you don't miss any of my upcoming projects. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.